Several days ago, we looked at some of Fortnite's worst SMGs, and in the comment section of that video, you guys all asked me to revisit some of the best SMGs in Fortnite history, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Today, we are going to look at those SMGs that just absolutely dominated the meta, sometimes even replaced ARs or even shotguns, they were so strong. If you go on to enjoy this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop if you would like to support what I'm doing here on the channel. And yeah, let's just get right into this. Firstly, let's talk about the Thunderbird SMG that was introduced in Chapter 5 Season 1. I think there's an argument here that this is the best SMG we have ever seen. It's just a versatile SMG. You can use it as an AR. I mean, you really can, especially when you get attachments on it, especially the laser sight that basically makes it so there's no bloom, you have first shot accuracy all the time. I mean, that's insane to me. I try my best when I rank weapons to not take into consideration the attachment system in Chapter 5 because I think there were a ton of SMGs that would be insane, and just guns in general that would be insane in Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 if they had attachments. But look, even without attachments, there's a reason why this is the absolute dominant SMG in Chapter 5. There's no surprise. It's better than the Hyper SMG, it's better than the Harbinger SMG, and there's a reason why every single pro you'll see will carry this weapon. It's accurate, it's good at long range, it's good at close range, it does great damage, and it's got great magazine size. I really don't have any gripe with this. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of burst weapons, but even I can admit this thing is absolutely busted and extremely strong. And next, let's just go back a whole chapter to Chapter 4 Season 1 and talk about the Twin Mag SMG. Again, this is another weapon that I think you could make the argument is the best SMG we've ever seen in Fortnite. And just for reference for the future's video, the Blink Mag SMG will not be included. I'm just kind of grouping the Twin Mag here as itself. But I mean, wow, I remember using this SMG as an AR. I vividly remember using it as my assault rifle in Chapter 4 Season 1. I think where this SMG stands out compared to the other fully auto SMGs is really just the bloom. You had pretty minimal bloom for this weapon, and you had a great fire rate and really solid damage. If you remember trying to use like the original SMG, remember from Season 5, I believe, when it came out, I mean, you're doing 9 damage past like 20 meters, right? But with the Twin Mag, that's not the case. The Twin Mag is a really, really good SMG, and there's going to be no surprises that this is on here. I think a lot of people agree with me. You also have the benefit of every other reload being faster, of course. That's the whole Twin Mag mechanic. But yeah, this SMG really excels, and I think specifically in Chapter 4 Season 1 because, one, we had a pump shotgun meta. I think most people could agree the Thunder shotgun was better than the Maven, and so obviously if you're going to use a pump, most people will also pair that with an SMG. And also the SMG selection that season was pretty weak. If I remember, the Machine SMG was one of the other main SMGs that season. That thing just really sucks, to be honest with you, and the Twin Mag just absolutely outclasses it. So yeah, no surprises here. Twin Mag SMG is absolutely one of the best in the game's history. And now we got to talk about what is one of my favorite weapons ever in Fortnite, and that is the Combat SMG. Look, this is a really interesting pick here. I'm going to kind of explain the history of this weapon because even with all the nerfs, I still think it's a top tier SMG. On its launch, I think that you could make the argument that this is one of the best weapons we've ever seen. Not just SMGs, one of the best weapons ever. This was truly an assault rifle, an SMG, a shotgun, a sniper, all in one. It was unbelievable. I think the legendary and mythic version's DPS was almost 300 damage per second, which is just out of this world insane. But it got nerfed into the ground in Chapter 3 Season 2 with a damage reduction by 2 for each rarity, and then in Chapter 3 Season 3 got nerfed again to reduce damage by 1. So you started at 20 for the common and then went down to 18 damage and then went down to 17 damage. So a really sizable nerf there. And then in Chapter 4 Season 3, it basically just reverted that last nerf and it got buffed by getting +1 damage for each rarity. And I think the main complaint for a lot of people is just the recoil with this weapon. I mean, if you've ever used this, you shoot it, it just goes straight to the sky. But I'll tell you one thing, it wasn't always like that. But even with the immense amount of recoil and the damage nerf, I think it is still a top tier SMG, and here's why. This weapon has a lot of recoil, as I just said, but it is vertical recoil, which is so much easier to control than horizontal recoil. If you're on controller, just hold down that right stick a little bit more than you would, and it's just going to stay in a straight line. Horizontal recoil is almost impossible to control, hence why I hate the hammer assault rifle. But if you could control this SMG, you are going to do good damage. Great fire rate, great magazine size, and extremely minimal bloom. That's the big thing. That's why you could really use it from long range or close range, to be honest with you. Look, even though it has had a fall from grace from what it used to be, I do still think it is a top tier SMG and deserving of this list. Next, let's talk about the rapid fire SMG. First, I need to preface that this weapon has gone through so many changes. It feels like every other season this weapon weapon is tuned, buffed, nerfed, just totally changed. So I'm just going to go off the current state of the weapon. Look, this weapon has to be used in an extremely particular way. If you use it in the correct way, it is unbelievable. If you use it any other way, you are going to struggle. And I mean this when I say it. You have to only use this weapon when you are in somebody's box. That is it. Anything outside of being in somebody's box, you are going to struggle with this weapon. The bloom is unreal, right? The bloom is terrible. 5 meters. Anything past 5 meters, good luck. You are in big trouble. It is just going to go everywhere. Your bullets are going to go everywhere. You're going to run out of ammo. It's just going to be a disaster, and it will do like 8 damage. But if you use it where you're supposed to use it, which is extremely close range, you will absolutely shred through anybody. And it can be considered one of the best close range weapons ever. This weapon ended up getting a much needed buff to how it currently is, where now it has a 26 bullet magazine size instead of a 20 bullet magazine size, at least in the higher rarity, which is massive for a weapon that fires so fast. Look, I know this is kind of a polarizing weapon. You either love it or you hate it, but I'm on the side of loving it. And again, like I said, if you use it in a box with somebody, you'll just shred through everybody. And to me, that's really all that matters, because that's how the weapon was intended to be used. And I think it deserves a spot here on this list. And the final SMG that I want to talk about today is just the regular submachine gun, the one that was introduced in Chapter 1, Season 5. And this is another weapon that just has so many changes. I can't even begin to explain all the changes that have happened to this weapon over the 5 chapters that it's been in. But what I will say is it's just your all-around solid SMG. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I will say at range, it really struggles because it has a lot of bloom and no first shot accuracy. But I think in those medium to close ranges where, let's be honest, you should be using an SMG, I think it really shines there. Look, it's just a solid SMG, good damage, good fire rate, good magazine size. I mean, everything just kind of is good. And I think a lot of times that's just what you need from an SMG, right? There's so many bad SMGs that sometimes you just need something that's going to get the job done, and this absolutely does that. I will say that we are going to talk about the weapons in their current states, and so that is why you're not seeing the drum gun or the suppressed SMG or the P90 on this list. In the peaks of those weapons, they were just absolutely overpowered, honestly. Like, they really were overpowered and were insanely strong, but in their current states, I don't think they actually make this list. Although I think you really could consider the P90, the purple and gold versions, to just be the kind of like purple and legendary versions of the base SMG. But yeah, I think this is a solid SMG. I think we have so many bad SMGs that the ones that are just okay and pretty solid actually stick out as being some of the best. And yeah, that is my list for just kind of revisiting some of Fortnite's best SMGs of all time. There were a couple that were on the fringe of making this list, specifically the Stinger SMG, which was really insane and probably one of the best SMGs ever when it launched, but in its current state just kind of struggles with only doing 15 damage, I believe, in the common variant. As well as this, I always rip on Chapter 2, Season 6, but the Primal SMG was actually the shining star in that season, probably the best weapon that season, and honestly, could have potentially been on this list. It was really close. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did I nail it? Did I miss some? Let me know which video you would like to see next, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.